And we never forget our fighters in the community, the people that are on the ground who make things happen by sheer will sometimes. And I'm talking about a woman, Stephanie Jeter, restore our community relations and all of her partners. Unbelievable, Stephanie. Unbelievable. Now you can stop calling me about this one. I know you have other ones, but that's all right. That's right. And unfortunately, just before we came here, we got word that there's a health problem within Mayor Brown's family, someone he needed to attend to. So he would have been here to celebrate this important milestone, this announcement, and we'll certainly see him at many, many, many more opportunities to showcase what we're going to continue doing here in Western New York. So let's talk. And what are we doing here in Western New York? Let's talk about these pictures. I mean, this is snow on the ground. This street even looked beautiful with snow on it. I mean, that is spectacular to see what we had come from, Humboldt Parkway and the great history. And I was reading up an article about the genesis of the whole concept of putting in a massive highway through this beautiful tree-lined home for hundreds and hundreds of Western New Yorkers. People lived in the city of Buffalo. And at the time, there were a lot of influences going on. First of all, the thought that everyone was going to be driving cars. When this was 1946, they're having these conversations. And yes, we were starting to emerge into an era where people not just had one car, but two cars, and they thought they needed to accommodate these transportation needs. But also they wanted to get people faster out to the suburbs. So when you want to point to a time when the city of Buffalo started declining, it was after it was so easy and so fast for people to flee the city. And we didn't keep building back this city during those intervening decades between the late 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And now what we're trying to do is reverse some of those decisions. They weren't just made here. The thought is these super highways are going to be fantastic. And this is a sign of the future. We're getting people through and out of the cities as fast as we can. But that was so painful. Not just for the hundreds of people whose lives were disrupted and turned upside down. I was reading past articles on this, and they said, yes, there was community opposition to it, but they were overshadowed by the politicians and the local media that thought this was the greatest thing that they could have thought. It was to tear down a tree-lined boulevard where there are homes and churches and businesses, and to make it into this infrastructure that we're trying to undo the wrongs of the past. And we've seen opportunities where we've done it right, and that's why I'm so optimistic about this. And I know it can get done because we saw it happen in Rochester. The New York Times did a beautiful story on the evolution of the movement to remove highways all across America, and they showcased Rochester. And what you see now in the site of the former Interloop there was, first of all, they had room to expand the beautiful Strong Museum of Play. If you have not taken your kids there too, after you've seen everything here, go to Rochester. It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. They had room to expand there. Affordable housing, supportive housing, townhouses, a neighborhood. It is stunning. And it also understood that there could be tremendous pressure for gentrification if you didn't build the affordable housing as part of it immediately. So people who want to live there in beautiful new homes. These are stunning. I walked through the apartments. I saw what was being done, supportive housing for veterans and others who've been identified as places and individuals who need help. We did that in Rochester on the very site where there had been a highway not unlike the one right outside these doors. That's what gives me hope. It's been done before with great success. And we always know that the land downtown is the most valuable. This is where people want to congregate. We know that. People see the possibilities, just as I have, growing up in an area where the people used to say the last one out of town turn out the lights. We've come a long way from that attitude. We are optimistic now. We see a better future. And the city, once the highway's gone, they can develop this into a wonderful asset for them. To take something that had just been an eyesore and people just got used to it, never even questioned why it's even there in the first place, something we just accepted. We're no longer just accepting things because they came before. We can't always assume they did it right the first time, as the majority leader pointed out. So building back a city, it's a multifaceted approach, and there's no examples where the quality of life in a community or neighborhood improved when they put a highway in, but when you remove it, bam, it happens like this. As I mentioned, people congregating, children playing, what we can do with parks and linkages, but also the jobs that are created doing this, critically important as we're coming back after this pandemic, so I'm excited about that aspect of it. as well as just a thought that this place matters. It matters enough, the people matter enough that we're going to reconnect, reunite the neighborhoods. So there's economic, there's psychological benefits, there's environmental benefits that come from removing this asphalt structure, as well as just the social opportunities for interconnection. And that's why when I spoke about infrastructure in my State of the State address and in my budget, I say most people don't get real excited about the words infrastructure, maybe other than guys in the front row over here. That's all they talk about. But to me, infrastructure means connections. And I know this because I worked for 14 years in local government. And I saw what a road could do, or the harm a road could cause depending on how it was placed. I also knew that there were strong needs for water lines, sewer lines, infrastructure. And when you do that, you're taking care of very basic needs. And for so long when I was in local government, we were always saying, Albany, please help us, can you send some money? And it felt like we were always crying to deaf ears. And now I'm in a position to say, I understand local government. Let's let you reimagine your communities with friends and support from Albany. And now, because of what President Joe Biden did, along with people like Brian Higgins and our majority leaders and our senators and others, they got it together and did something that is a generational change. We now have the money to do projects like this because of what happened in Washington with the leadership of the Democrats who voted for this project. And I want to make sure that we give them the credit. And there's going to be so many more projects that now flow to New York because of the infrastructure money that was passed by President Joe Biden. And he believed in this, as well as our members of Congress and our senators, and that's why we can be here today as well.